Very good evening, everyone. So it is almost 7 p.m. So we will going to start. I think almost 20, more than 20 has already joined. So I think more people will join over there. So thanks everyone. Thanks for joining this session. So today we are going to organize a very interesting sessions. Today is the first day of the 5 days boot camp. So please welcome Shushmita ma'am. So she is giving us time to conduct this session next 4 to 5 days. She will take you go through the Python overview on that. Okay, and we will be live on YouTube for these all the 5 sessions. Okay, so it is absolutely free for everyone. So I think across the globe people are joining in our live streaming sessions. To over to you, ma'am, to take it forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tathara sir. Let me just introduce myself for the first. Well, I'm Shushmita Kona. I'm teaching in a Kolkata-based degree college, computer science for more than 10 years, and obviously saying some engineering college like that. So I'm working in data science and machine learning kinds of projects like that. And of course, Python is one of my, favorite subject or favorite language. Okay. So let me just move on. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So I think it's visible to you all. So let's just move on to the next topic, that is the introduction to Python or overview of Python. For next few days or the next 5 days, for the 5 days, we will study something about Python. We will have some knowledge about Python. Let's just move on to that. Okay. So basically, Python is a programming language, right? Now, what is a programming language is? For that, first of all, we need to learn about what is program. So now, rather, why do we need a program, right? If we want to solve any problem by a computer, so we need to give the instructions and some values so that it will process on that and it will give us the output. Okay. So for that, the set of instructions to be carried out by the computer is known as a program. Okay. And at the time of the execution, when the program is being executed, that time it's been called process, or we will call it as program execution. Okay. And for writing a program, we can't write in our normal English like that, or in our mother languages or mother tongue like that. Okay. We need to learn something, some languages which is readable or which can be translated to computer understandable languages. That is a machine language. So we need to write languages, write the program into languages which is to be translated by that. Okay, so that is a programming languages. Okay, so programming languages, depending on a particular criteria or depending on a particular categorization, programming languages can be categorized into 3 categories. Okay, first is procedural, next one is functional, and the third one is object-oriented. Now, what is a procedural language? Well, a procedural language is a name some implies, you can see that it depends on a predefined and streamlined processes. Okay, so it's in the form of structural program that has only 3 things, that can have only 3 things. One is way to execute the list of commands in a particular sequence. Next one is conditional branching, and third one is the loops. Now, what is loops? What is conditional branching? I hope you all know about it. And the next one is functional programming. Now, what is functional programming is? Functional programming basically involves a problems that is entire, the problem or the program will be written in entirely by passing values to a function, to different function, rather different function. Okay. So it is created by, composition of smaller function into larger structure. Okay. So now we can say, like, practically, most procedural languages support some function programming, and most functional languages support some procedural programming also. Okay. But 2 approaches are computing very different. So the example of procedural languages, you can see that C, Pascal's like that. And for functional programming, the example could be as Lisp, ML, Scheme like that. Okay. Now let's move on to the object-oriented language, which is actually Python is an example of this object-oriented language. And in object-oriented languages is what? The program is divided into small parts that will be called as objects and have access specifiers, some data hidings, inheritance, polymorphism like that. Now, what is data hiding? What is polymorphism? That will be described later on. We will gradually move on to the Python inside, and we will just describe how these characteristics will be solved by Python. Okay. So another categorization, after writing a program in a particular, all these, okay, now all these languages like procedural, functional, object-oriented, these are all high-level languages. Now, what is high-level languages is, high-level languages are the with languages which will not be understandable by the computer itself. Okay, so we need a translator that will translate that high-level language into the low-level or the machine-level languages. Okay, so for that translator, we can have an interpreter and compiler. Okay, two of them. Some languages can have an interpreter, some languages can have a compiler. Now, what is the difference between that interpreter and compiler is? So the interpreter is actually checks line by line or a particular sentence or particular sequence of sentence or command. It will just check if there is no error in that particular statement. It will just translate it to the machine language or execute it, rather execute it, right? And it will move on to the next similar statement. But in compiler, it will check throughout the program, all the program at once. And if there contains no error, then it will convert it to an object code. After that, that object code will be executed to have the output or to give the output. Okay. So this is the basic difference of interpreter and compiler is. These all just a little bit revision about what is a compiler, interpreter, and machine level languages, high level languages are. So let's move on to the history of Python. Now, why Python have come to the, come to the scenario, or why when it's come like that. So it was basically initially designed by Guido van Rossum in 1980s. And implemented, the program was implemented in 1981. After that, in 1991, Rossum published the code to all the sources, and the version was labeled as 0.9.0. Now, why does it name as Python? Why not anything else? Well, for that, there is a story like Rossum was reading the script of a popular BBC comedy series named as Monty Python's Flying Circus. Okay, that was on late 1970s. Okay, and the comedy series was very creative and well random. It takes about it talks about everything, and thus it was slow and unpredictable. Okay, which made it very interesting. So, and this was very much this comedy show was very much a favorite for Rossum. So for that, he gave the name for that particular language as Python. Okay, and after that, and the current version is 3.11.5. The current version of Python. After that, so many versions have been come to the real world like that, and till now, in last version is implemented on, published on August 24 of 2023. That is version 3.11.5. Okay. Okay. So Python as a silent features of Python, you can see that Python is a high-level language, and obviously it's an interpreted language that is each and every statement will be checked, and if it is error-free, it will be converted or it will be executed at once, right? And it will convert it to, it will give the output. Okay. Now, what are the why do we call Python is so important? Okay. what are its characteristics? So Python, not only Python, actually, it's not only it's an easy to learn, but also it's a flexibility and its versatility. A huge libraries are there exist that enables you to use in Python, in machine learning, in AI, in data science, everywhere. Okay. So you can see that I can say that Python, Pandas, NumPys, Matplotlib, these are some packages are available. One is for statistical calculations, one is for data science related, like data set series related tasks. You can use it, right? There are so many libraries, rich ecosystems of libraries. Okay, and obviously it is used in many industries, like everywhere, in finance, in web development, in scientific researches, in biological researches, or biological or medical researches, like everywhere we can use it. Okay. Okay. So next, now where to code the Python, right? We can see that there are so many IDEs in Python. Now, what is IDEs actually? Okay, what is IDE? IDE is actually enables the programs to combine the different aspects of writing a computer program. Okay, and it increases the programmer's productivity by introducing features like editing source code and building some executables and debugging like that. Okay, so code editors are also there. Code editor is basically a text editor, okay, which programs designed specifically for editing. Okay, and typically it includes features like that helps in code deployment or development. Well, IDEs has also a graphical user interface. It's very useful for the user, right? So while a code editor does not have any graphical user interface like that. So that could be a difference between them. Now, let's move on to these individual topics. Now, ideally basically is an integrated development and learning environment. You can code Python in any of these. Okay. You can implement or you can install anything, any of these, and you can code your Python programmings in them. So ideally is an integrated development and learning environment. It's a default editor that accompanies Python. Okay. Next is PyCharm. If you see the PyCharm is actually widely used Python IDE that was created by JetBrains, I think. And this IDE is suitable for professional developers and facilitates the deployment of large Python projects. Next one, you can see that another one is there, like Visual Studio Code. It's not in there, they invent. Visual, it's an open source, okay, and many of them are free, almost free. Okay, so next one is Jupyter. Jupyter is widely used in the field of data science, basically, and it is easy to use, interactive, and allows live code sharing and visualization. Okay. Next is Spider. Spider is an open source IDE, okay, and used for it's also used for scientific development, and it comes with one more feature is that it comes with that Anaconda distributions, which is popular for data science and machine learning tasks. Okay, but now another one is there, like Python plus Colab or Colab notebook. Now, what is that? We will move on to our next topic. Okay, we will see hands-on. Okay. Next is here you can see that some good books are there from which you can learn Python more better. Okay, if you have some, if you want some reference, you can go through these books. Okay, now how to install like that? How to code? How to install a particular IDE for writing the Python programming? Like first install the Python. After that, install an IDE, or is integrated development environment for Python. And IDE being default IDE, there is Anaconda. And after the installation is completed, then you need to install some packages, some libraries. And after the installation has been done by this syntax, you can import a particular library name, like import OS, import NumPy, import Python, Pandas, like that. Okay. So these are some basic information about how to write or how to get started to write a program in Python. So this is a Python program example. Here you can see that this is a code snippet or code part, like print hello world, print within braces nothing is there. After that, print this program produces, and print 4 lines of outputs like that. So at the console part, you can see that this part in the right side part is known as console part. So here, every line will be executed, and it will be, every line will be translated one by one, and it will be executed. So print hello world will be executed since it's error free. So hello world is in the output section, you can see hello world is there. After that, print within braces. Well, print is a function, right? I will describe that later on, but still just now, for now, print is a function, and within braces, we used to send some parameters to that function that will be used, or that will be, the function will do something with these parameters. Since we are passing some strings or some strings within the double quotation, so for that, this parameter will be just printed. For the print function will just print it that particular part, whatever we have given within the second quotation, double quotation. Okay. So next line is print. This program is produces. So this line is being printed, and the last line is print 4 lines of outputs. So that 4 lines of output is also printed here. So you can see the difference between the lines of our code lines of codes, the console, what is done in the console part, and in the output section. Okay, what is being out, the output is given by this particular program. So now Colab, what I was just saying that. Colab is another Python programming platform, or we can write program in Google Colab. Now, what is that Colab? Or what is the advantage of that? Colab is an excellent platform for developing and running Python code without any installation. We don't need to install anything like any IDE or any anacondas or any packages like that. We just need to we just need to open the Google Colab website, and we can set our drive, and we can get a new notebook where you can write the code. Okay, so that is all. Okay, so now we will move on to the next topic. Okay, so how can we open that Google Colab notebook page and like that? That will be described later on. We will go and we will just show them on hands-on part. And one of the advantages is that in Google Colab part, we can share our code with anyone. Is very easy. We can share that code where, for example, we need to send that particular code to someone, and it's very easy. Okay, and the versions, if the versions change, it's automatically updated. We don't need to concern about which version is going on. Okay. Okay. So next is, and obviously a great code snippet is there, which we can use it in our program. Now here is the example of Google Colab page. How does it looks like that? And just example. Okay, let's just move on to the. Okay, now let's see that how to write the Google Colab, or how to open the Google Colab page for writing program. Just write Google Colab in the Google page, and welcome to the Collaboratory. Yeah, you can see that. So this will come, then you can click this one, new notebook. Okay. Or you can write, or you can go to the file section also for the new notebook page to come. Yes. This all you can have. And moreover, if you have a Google Colab page already saved or already downloaded in your machine, you can go this file section and you can upload it. You can upload or click on this upload notebook section, and you will be get an windows where you will be get an option to upload or to select the .ipy file, so that you can upload it, and that particular file will be uploaded in your notebook page. Okay, and that will be saved. Fine. And of course, you can download. If you have any particular notebook, or if you have opened something, or if you get a notebook page, Colab notebook page, you can also download it in your machine like that. Okay. So this is how can we write or how can we open a Google Colab page, and we can write a program here. Okay. So let's move on. Like this. This is a Google Colab page where I have written and one important or one advantage is that here you can see that two options are there. One is code, one is text. If you write or click on the code section, you can have a cell where you can write any code or any line or any statement of Python programming. Okay, and for this particular section, just to write the description about that or like that, you have to write click on the text part. Look. Yes. This portion we get by clicking on this text part. So you can write anything here, just the text part. Like we are learning Python. Anything. That's only the text part. And just click on the outside and it will be saved. Okay. And in Google Colab part, or in this particular code section, you can write anything. You can write like a equals to or Python, like not Python, p equals to say 3. And you can execute it. This particular button is for running that particular cell. Okay. Now, and you can obviously delete that particular cell if you are not interested with it, or it's not more usable. So you can just click on this particular delete cell and the cell will be deleted. Okay. And of course, you can move this particular cell, like we are learning Python. I want to shift it up. So you can click on this particular arrow. Okay. And for down, you can click on this. Okay. Got it? So this is a little bit about the Google Collaboratory, where you can write your Google Python programming. And of course, with the description can also be added here. Okay. So now, okay. So just a little bit. Yes. Now, Python data types. Now, what is data types, and what does it mean, or why do we need that particular data types? Well, to write a particular any program, we need to store some values, or we need to give some values as input, and we need to store them, right? Computer need to store them in its hard disk or like that. So for that, depending on the type of the value we are giving, the number of memory or the number of memory or the amount of memory will be saved or allocated for that particular value. Depending on that particular value we are passing. For example, if we pass a number, just a 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, we need only a single bit or a 2-bit, a certain amount of memory. Okay, that particular value will be falls under integer type. And if we pass if we want to store our address of a particular house or like that, so that will contain a string, right? So for that, a long memory or the amount of memory will be needed better. Higher than the or larger than the first one, the integer part one. Right? So the amount of memory will be allocated to store a particular value is dependent or is allocated or is identified by the data type. Okay, data type is all concerned about it. that which type of data will be saved, and depending on that, amount of memory will be allocated in the memory, okay, or in the hard disk. So that is data type. Now data type can be of different types. I think if you know about any languages, you also, I mean, you know about what is data type and what is what are the different data types, or what are the basic data types are. Okay. So for that, for Python, the basic data types are like this. These are the object. These are also can be as called as object type, like dictionary, tuples, strings, numbers, like that. Now, numbers can be of integer and float type. Okay. List can be of list. Now, what is list? What is tuple? What is dictionary? We will move on gradually to each and every topic, and we will see what does it matters, or how does it works on Python code, or why do we need it, right? So we will move on. Okay. So that is the basics data types of Python programming. Okay. Next. So and after storing, now when we want to store that particular value, we have to allocate a particular memory, and for that memory we need to give a name of that particular site, or that means what, a variable name that is known as variable name. So that variable name will point to that memory where that particular value is being stored. Okay, so that is known as variables name. And in Python programming, it's an advantage is that we no need to write the data type, or we no need to indicate the data type when we want to store the data. The data, just we need to write the variables name and equals to the data it want to store. Okay, and it will be, the data type will be automatically allocated or automatically selected. Okay, so variables, Python variables. So these are some specific characteristics. How can we change the name, or how can we assign a particular name for our variables? Okay. Okay. So yes. So Python variables names must begin with an underscore or a letter. Okay. But without any underscore, or except any underscore, we can't use any other punctuation marks, characters. Okay. And they may contain any combinations of letters, digits. We can write A3, we can write A3B2, like this for a particular variable name. And variables names are very case sensitive. Okay, if we write a small letter var1 and a capital letter V var1 are two different variables names. Okay, now we cannot, and one more thing, most important thing is we cannot use any reserved word or any keywords. Now, what is reserved word and what is keyword is? Now, these are something like some words are specifically specified over that for that particular word, some specific meaning is being written in the Python library. Okay, and we can't use that as variable name. Fine. So for that particular that reserved word and keywords, like you can see that for, if you know any language, you can I think you know that for is a syntax, or for is a command which is used for looping, right? So these are some examples of reserved word which we cannot use in any variable name. Okay. Okay. So yes. So here is our first example of Python programming, that what is variable, or how can we assign a particular variable to a value like that. So first, you can see that here is a equals to 8. That means what? We no need to write any data type. You can see here int a, float a, or like that. No need to write any data type. Just a equals to 8 is sufficient. And a equals to 8 means what? 8 is a value which will be stored in a particular memory location that will be pointed by a. Okay. That means what? A is pointed to a memory location which contains the value a. And id, print is a function. We know already described that print is a function, which is the body part of the task is written in the Python library, and we can use it just with the proper parameters. Okay, so as a parameter, if we pass that ID of A, that means ID is denoted as the identifier. Okay, now what is an identifier? Identifier basically the memory location of that particular variable which is being passed inside the ID function. So that means what? ID of A, ID is another function which will return to the print function a value. ID function will return a value, that is the identifier, that is the memory location of that variable A will be returned to print, and the print function will print it. And to execute that entire code snippet, we just click on this particular icon, that button, and the code is all set. It's been given it's already given the output. Okay, right? For this particular line, print ID A, this particular line is being printed. That means what? This is the identifier or the memory location of the variable A is, right? After that, the next line is print type A. That means what? Type, what is the type of A? We have not indicated any data type over that for that A variable. We have just assigned the value. So that means the data type is already assigned depending on that value we have passed or we have saved on it. So you can see that it's printed as class int. That is a class type int. Okay, that is an integer type variable. Obviously, it is an integer type variable is, right? So it's been printed like class, it's a class type integer E. And after that, see here, we have reassigned a value to A, that A equals to 5. That means what? Now 5 is been saved to somewhere else, somewhere else in the memory, where A equals to 5 is not means that A is reassigned, or the value of A is overlapped or overwritten. It's not that. 5 is saved somewhere else. Now A variable is pointing to that new location where 5 is stored, not 8. 8 is stored somewhere else, which is not, which is not pointed by A. A is now pointed to a new location where 5 is being saved. And now if we write print ID of A, that means we want to see that if the location is changed, you can see that this particular location is now identified by A, that means pointed by A, and which is very much different from this particular, the previous one where 8 is being stored, right? So you can see the difference here, the ID locations. So that means what? A is reassigning to another values or to another identifier or to another memory location. Now we are assigning B to A. That means B is pointing to the value which is being pointed by A, right? So now A is being pointed to 5. So now B will also point it to 5. That means a particular value can be pointed by more than one variables, but a particular variables can only point to only one value. That point is clear here. 5 is the value which is been pointed by A as well as now B. But we can't assign like a particular variable like A equals to 5, A equals to 8. No, we can't do that. A particular variable will point to only one value, but a single value can be pointed by more than one variable. And here we are adding like A equals to A plus 8. Okay, that means the value 5 is being added to 8 and which is being stored in that particular location where it was. Okay, so the new value of that particular location becomes 13, right? 8 plus 5 becomes 13. So that A is pointing to 13 and B is also pointing to 13. So here we are printing the ID of B. That means the location of B. So you can see the location of B, this one, which is same as the location of A, which was pointing to 5. And now we are printing the value of new A. That is the A, basically A after adding it. So the value is 13 here. Sorry, 13 here. Okay. So I think it's clear. That means first A was assigned to value 8 and the memory location was this one. After that, we are reassigning a new value to A. That particular new value is stored somewhere, some new locations, and that new location is being now pointed by A. Okay. And we are reassigning B equals to A. Okay. So this B is being saved by this particular location. Okay. So now B and A both are pointing to this particular location. And which contains, and this particular location contains the value what? 13 now. Basically, we have added 8. So it becomes 13 now. Okay. Next. We have just written that C equals to within third braces 4, 5. This third braces, whatever we have written, this is for a list initialization. List is another data type. Okay. You can see here that list. And we need to write like this within the third braces. It can be of integer type values or it can contain, integer type values or it can contain some character type values. Okay. So here we have passed some integer type values, right? 4 and 5 like that. So this particular C, now what will be the type of C? We are saying that it will be list. Now let's see that if computer has, calculated it, or the compiler interpreter has calculated it is properly or not. Now, if we print it as print type C, see, it's printed as classed list. It's correct. So it's been correctly, written that yes, type of the C is list. After that, here we have written that A equals to within double quotation Python. That means what? We have assigning a particular string to that variable A. Now this particular string will be saved in a particular memory location that will be pointed by A. Now what will be the type of that this variable? Obviously this is a string type. Okay. See, if you see here the string type value or the string type data type, we need to write like this. Okay, like we can write single quotation, double quotation. We will move on. We will see on the next classes like that, how to write a string or what are the options that will be for string initialization like. Okay, so that is that A equals to Python. That means a string named a string written as the text is written as Python, which is a string is being saved by a particular location, which is being pointed by A. Okay. And if we now type A, we are printing the type of this particular variable A. Obviously, it should write a string and it's there. Class string. str means string. Okay. So that means it the A is now pointed to a string type value. Okay, next. Yes. So now we can also reassign the value. We have already seen like that. If we just change the value like A equals to 5, it will print the value. Okay, another if we can write print function over here, another function, another way is just write the particular variable name and it will print the value it contains or it points. Okay, like this. Okay, just change the value like 8 or 800 and it's printed. Okay. Okay. And in this particular code snippet or code cell, we have almost same example, just we have just described previously, that A equals to 1, and now B is assigning to A. Okay, now see what? A is pointing to a value, 1 is being saved. Rather change it, just 10. Do it as 10. Now 10 is being saved in a particular memory location, which is being pointed by A. And now we are assigning B to A. That means B is pointing to the location that A is pointing to, right? After that, the value of A is being changed, right? But B is pointing where? The previous A, that is the 10 value, right? So now if we print, the value of B is printed as 10. Though we have reassigned the A variable is now pointing to somewhere else where 5 is being saved, not for 10. But now B is printed as 10. Okay. Next. So this is all about. So here we can see that one of the characteristics of the variable name, I have said that it's a case sensitive, right? Case sensitive means if we write here in this particular code cell, you can see that we have written the thing as variable name in 3 ways. One is all our small letters, like thing equals to 1. One is all our capital letter, like thing equals to 2. And here we have mixed it, in the variable name, we have mixed the small letters and capital letters. Now, this is what all the things are different. All the variables are different and they are pointing to different memory location or different identity, pointing to different identifier. Okay. So if we just click on this particular button to execute it, and we have printed like thing, the capital thing is being printed. Okay, and one more thing is to be see. I mean, you can see here that we have written the particular name, which is to be printed, right? In the previous cell, we have seen that if we write the variable name, the value can be printed. But here we have written the thing, but it's not printed. Why? Because we have used a print statement here. Okay, but if we write here again print, THG. Now see. Now both of them are printed. Okay. So thing, the small letter thing is pointing to 1, and this particular location, I mean this particular variable, the capital thing is pointing to 2. Is that clear? Okay. So next. Okay. And here also we are just printing, but in a single cell, if we just write the variable name, it will print the value. Okay, just one more example is there. Okay. And also one of the characteristics was there that we cannot use the keywords or reserved word as the variable name. Okay, now what can be the keywords or reserved word are in the Python? If you want to know the names of them, you just write that help, and within braces, the help is a function which will return the the description about that particular keyword or that particular syntax or command that is being passed as a parameter. So keyword is the word which has been passed as a parameter within it. And if we just click it, and these are the keywords of Python programming or Python library, which we cannot use as parameter, variable name. Okay. I think you should keep it in your mind. And if you write the Python programmings, a little bit practice will help you to keep them in mind. Okay. Keep them remember. So next. Okay. In this cell, you can see that we are assigning a value a equals to 1 and we are adding that particular value and we are storing that. So that means what a is pointing to a value whose value is being added to 1 and that particular value is being stored or pointed by a, of course. So the value of a or the value of the memory location which is being pointed by a is changed to 2. It is added. Okay, just to change the value. It's just not 1, 2. So it's become 20. First it was 10, then 10 is being added to it and it becomes 20. Okay. Next. Okay. So here is an example, like this example will denote you like how can we add or how can we write the mathematical expressions in a particular in a Python programming like that. If you can write a equals to 7. After that, if you write a plus equals to 2, that will point you or that will denote you like a equals to a plus 2. I think many of the programming languages also can have having it, right? So just execute it. Okay, just change the value. 7. We are changing the value as 10. Okay. So this particular line is adding 2 with the value. So now the new value of that particular memory location pointed by a becomes 12. So when we are printing the value here, 12 is being printed. After that, a minus equals to 2. This line. So that means what? Whatever the value is now currently pointed by a will be subtracted by 2, right? So the current value was 12. So after subtracting 2 from it, the new value becomes 10. Okay. Then we are writing like a multiplied equals to 2. That means a equals to a into 2, right? So the value will become, obviously 10 into 2 becomes 20. So the value becomes 20 here. Okay. After that, we have written that a by equals to 2. That means it will be divided, the value will be divided by 2 and the quotient part will be saved or the quotient part will be pointed, saved somewhere memory location that will be pointed by a variable. Okay, so if you write now print a, the value is obviously 10 by 2 becomes 10. 20 by 2 becomes 10, right? The quotient is 10. And the percentage sign, a percentage equals to 2. That means it's a modular division. That means after dividing by 2, whatever the remainder is, that will be pointed by a. Okay. Okay. That is all about. Fine. Okay. Next. Sorry. Okay. So here we are writing like a equals to single quote hello. Okay. That means what? Remember in the first program, we have assigned a particular string with double quotation. But here we are assigning like single quotation. Okay. So string can be assigned by single quotation as well as double quotation in Python. Okay. If we write single quotation and within braces the string, within the single quotation, it will also be noted as string. And if we give double quotation, it will also be calculated or it will be also assigned as string. Okay. So now we are assigning a string to the a variable, that is a equals to hello. And now we are multiplying it by 3. Now numeric multiplication is different. And string, what will be in this? What will happen if we multiply the string by 3? Right. In Python programming, the multiplication function will, it will multiply that particular value, whatever the string contains, into that particular value which is being passed in the multiplication function. That means number of times it will be saved or it will be copied. Now we have multiplied it by 3, right? So 3 hello is there. You can see that 3 hello, 1 hello, 2 hello, and then 3 hello is there, number 3. So 3 times hello is being, multiplied. So 3 hello is being copied here. And after that, if we have applied plus operator, that will do the append function with the string. So we have applied first, we have applied at, okay, just change it. Multiplied by 5. That means 5 times hello is there. And after that, plus sign, plus a plus equals to world. That means what? World, that the word world will be append to that particular value which is being stored in, pointed by a, that is the 5 times hello, and the word world is appended here or is added with it. Okay, so the new a becomes like 5 hello and world. Fine, I think it's clear. So next is like good and bad variables names. Now, what does that mean? The good and bad variables means we are not school students or like that, right? So we will like to, we want to write a Python programming for a particular specific task, say for even numbers selections or some odd number selections, be it then. So we need to give the variable name some relevant name, not as magic number equals to 1, 2, 3, greeting equals to hello world. It's good, right? So, but if we write like x equals to hello world, now we should give in the variable name, like for that or by that name, we can get to know that what kind of values it contains or it points to, right? If it contains some odd number, so we can give it as odd or even like that. Or we can write, if we write something more like machine learning or data science related, like we want to save the age value. So we will give the variable name like age, right? We will not write ABCD like this. Okay, for that, so that we can get to know by the variable name that what kind of value or what is the nature of value or what is the kind of value it contains or it points to. Okay. So this is the good and bad variable names task or criteria. That variable name can be multiple character long. They can contain uppercase characters, numbers, or some other characters, but most of the time we should use simple lowercase variable name. Okay, and we can also use underscore, like that magic underscore number here is given, so we just execute it. Yeah, so it's just executed it and it's been saved. So after that, okay, here the magic number, once again the magic number, but this particular magic number variable name and this particular magic number variable name are different. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So this is the Booleans. Next topic is that Boolean value. Now, what is a Boolean value is? Well, Booleans for you can know that Boolean is like true and false here. In other, in the digital computing or some in some other languages also, Boolean means true or false. Only 0 or 1, that is true or false. So if we check something value, if we want to check or if we want to compare some value, that say if it is equals to or not, like if it is something like that particular value we want to fetch, then it will return either true or false. Okay, for the double equals to, it's been comparing operator, and single equals to is assigning operator, like other programming languages, C or like that others. Okay, so double equals to is comparing. Now in this particular code snippet, you can see that a equals to 1. That means one value is being stored in the variable a. Okay, and we want to check that if the particular value of pointed by a is 2 or not. So if we just execute it, it will return false, obviously false. Now just change it. The value of a is being changed to 2, and now we are comparing that, okay, the value of a is equals to 2 or not. Yes, now it's true, right? So that means what? The double equals to is comparing the value. Okay. Next. Here once again, one more example is there. Just change it. So you can see the at the advantage of Colab is a single particular sale is calculated, or we can execute it a single sale, right? One by one. Okay. And here, one more example is there. You can see that A equals to 1 is being stored. And now we are checking that A equals to 2. Is that particular comparison is equals to true or false? Okay. That means what? First, this particular comparison will be done. A equals to true. It will return what? It will return false, since A is containing the value 1, right? So 1 is being pointed by A. So that means the value of A equals to 2. It's not true. Okay. So that is false. So is that equals to true? Okay. I have changed the value actually. Yes. So now it's true. Now if the value is different, A equals to set A equals to as 5. And now we are comparing that 5 equals to 2. No, obviously this is a false. Okay. So false equal, now that particular false equals to true will be checked. That can be said as two comparison in one statement. First, this comparison will be done. A equals to 2. It will return true or false depending on the value of A. And that returning value will be checked by this particular value. Is it true or not? Fine. So when I change the value as 2, so now this will return true. A equals to true. 2 will return true. So that will also return true. Now that means true. Fine. It's clear. Next. Here, one more example is there. We have reassigned that A equals to 2, and we are checking like A equals to 1. That is equals to true. Obviously, no, that is false, right? Next. Next is none. Now, what is none means? Okay. Now, none is a kind of value that can be stored or that can be saved by a variable that is a different type. Okay, it's a different type of value that is known as none type. Okay, just write none. Just thingy, it's a just variable name. Thingy equals to none. So none is a value. Basically, it's a value, which is okay. We can see just it can be seen as a null. Somewhere else in some other programming language where we have used null like that, right? So there is none is another value. So none is a kind of value. Now you can see just if we execute it, see the type of thingy variable is none type. That means none is a data type. Basically, none is a data type. Okay, it's a none type. So that means what? Now you can see that what is it none means. So why do we use it, right? So for now, we can see that it's a little bit, foolish thing or like that. But none is very much useful in data science, machine learning, and AI related tasks, right? So for example, say we have a particular data set, right, where some columns are not present, or the values of some columns are absent, right? So now if we apply something, or if we want to search something value or like that, so it can produce an error, right? Or if we want to write something, or if you want to calculate something, right? If we, for example, say in a database, a table, rather a table, just imagine a table of data, where the columns, say age columns, okay? The age columns are containing values. Out of that, a particular row, the age column is blank, remains blank. Who has entered the values has forgot to enter that particular value, right? Now, if we do or if you write a program, like you need to check the value of age columns, okay, and check if he or she is eligible for voting or not, right? So for that particular missing value or for that particular vacant position, it can be, it can generate an error or it can give an error message. But we can do one thing. We can pre-process that particular table of data. We can pre-process that particular data set. Okay. So that will do what? If somewhere in the particular column contains a vacant value or it's a vacant, there is no value given, none will be printed over here, or none will be copied over here, or none will be saved over here. Fine. So none is another data type, right? So none is not a, I mean, it's not a something like weird things or like that. So now for that Python programming, now if we want to compare or if you want to check the value, it will just skip that particular task. If there is none, it will not just do anything or like that. Okay. Since none cannot be compared to any integer value or like that, but it will not generate any error like. Okay. So that is very much important in data science or machine learning related tasks. So none is very much important in Python programming. Okay. For now, it can be looks like weird, right? Okay. And if we want to print the thingy, like the none is being stored in thingy, so the none is a value which has been printed here. Okay. You can see here. Okay. So next. So we have already learned about the double equals to operator, which is being comparison operator, right? So the other comparison operators are like not equals to, which has been written like this, greater than equals to, less than equals to, like this. These all comparison can be done here. Okay. So now how can we do that? Okay. And of course, in the previous section, we have already seen that to combine multiple comparison can also be done, right? A equals to 1, that is equals to true or not, like that. So here it's been cleared that we can also use more than one comparison in particular statement. Okay. So these are the comparison that we can use here, comparison operator that we can use, or rather we will use in next examples. Okay. 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 So these are some functions. Okay. So using functions like that. So how can we use the functions like hello? If we write just hello, it will be just printed. Okay. But if we write, you can see that with the quotation it's being printed, right? That means what? It's not been contained as a value or like that. It's whatever we have written, it's just printed over it. But if we pass it as a parameter to the print function, then it will be saved, or it will be it will be noted as a string and without the quotation value, the single quotation or double quotation, whatever we have saved or whatever we have sent or written, without that will be, the value will be printed, right? So you can see, but that includes the quotation. Okay. So the one way to show the text to the user without the quotation is with the print function. Print is an inbuilt function in Python. Printing does not have anything to do with the physical printer. It just means the screen printing. Okay. So now what is print here? If you want to learn about what is print, want to type, see the type of the print. So that is known as function print. Okay. Now what is print? Print, if you write a print, it will be said that it's a function named as print. Fine. Next. Okay. The input function can also, be used for, for taking some values like stuff equals to, okay, printing is being done. That is the output function is already, we have learned about the output function, that is a print, right? Now what to do that when we want to take some input value, or when we want to take an input value from the user in the program, we want to write a code, right? What will it do? That we need to write input. Input is a function that is used for taking input from the user. Okay. So, and whatever we have written inside it as parameter, we have passed it, that will be printed. Okay. And it will See, if you execute it, it will print that particular text and it's demanding a value. Like if we are passing like 15 and give a enter and it's been stored. See how does it works? Once again, stuff is a variable that will point to a value that will be passed by the user when this input function will be executed with this particular text. Fine. Stuff equals to, yes, this one. Once again, so input, the enter something is being printed and we are passing a value and give a enter that yes, we have given the value and it's there. The value is there. So now that particular value 40 will be saved in a memory location which is being pointed by stuff variable name. Now, if we execute this particular line, see the value of stuff is 40 here. Okay. So that means what? If you, enter something as input value. Okay. Whatever we have written. See, enter something as input value is being printed. So just write 30 and give a enter. Yes. So now if you execute it, the stuff, the value is being changed to 30. See. Got it? So I think it's clear. Okay. So the value is being the staff variable is pointing to 30, a memory location where 30 is being stored. Fine. Now, in Python, /n is a new line character, right? Now, what is a new line character is, whoever is, knows some other languages like C or C++ like that. So you know about it. /n means a new line. That means the printing pointer, the printing head will move on to the next line when printing to the next part. Wherever the /n is given, after that, the next part will be printed to the next line, whatever is there. So just execute it, is there, right? So though hello world is a single word or single string, but we have given a /n in between them. So the printing head is move on to the next line and it will print it as hello, then world. Okay, and next line it's printed as world. Okay, so this is the function of /n. That is the new line character. Okay. And but for backslash, see, if you want to, if you want to print the /n, right? I mean real /n, not the next line. You don't want to move on to the next line, but you want to print the /n. For that, you need to give 2/. See, if you give 2/, then you can see that /n is also printed and it will not move on to the next line. Got it? If you want to print the real /n, then we need to escape it by typing 2 backslashes. We have given 2 backslashes here. For that, the C, 2 backslashes and then n. So it will print the /n in between and it will not move on to the next line for printing it. Got it? Got the difference? If you give a single /n, it will move on, the printing head will move on to the next line. Okay. But if you want to print the /n entirely in the particular single line or like that, in your text, you want to add it, then you need to write /n. Okay. Just wait. Okay. So next. Okay. Next is in print function, we can also pass multiple parameters or multiple arguments. Now, just for a revision, till now I have said that I'm saying that without print function, it is to be passed parameters, argument. What is it, right? So argument is the value which we are passing through, right, to a function that will, and the print function will do its task by taking this as a value, right? Whatever we are giving, it will consider it as something like, if we want to just print within quotation, whatever we have given, it will print that particular word entirely, and it will not do anything. But if you want to print a particular value of a variable, then you need to pass that variable without any double quotation or like that. Since within double quotation, it becomes a string like that. Okay, right. It will just printed that particular, it will be just like an image, and it will just print it, right? It will not see whatever it's written in this particular double quotation, be it a word, be it something like, any weird word like that. It will not see anything. It will not concern about it. It will just take it and it will just print it. Okay. But if you pass any variable to a print function, then it will print the value of that particular value variable, right? So, and in the Python, we can pass multiple parameters as argument, right? A multiple number of argument we can pass here. So here we are passing like hello first, then comma, then world, then comma, then value variable name A. Okay. So the variable A is last, basically whatever the last in this particular notebook was assigned, that will be printed here. Now, if you execute it, it will print it 2. Since I think in the last, let's move on to somewhere where A was. Yes, here. The last A used was this one. So A was assigned to 2. So that's why now if you change it, A equals to 8 and execute it and move on to the below part here. Now once again execute it. See the value changed, 8, right? So that's important. So wherever we have used the A last time, it initializes or it's pointing to a particular value, it will print that particular value, it will access that particular value. Got it? So here we can use or we can pass multiple arguments to a print function. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, just one question. I think
Yes.
from
Yes, please.
yes. So Santosh sir is asking which Python offline ID will be best for student of grade 5 onwards, because in school it is not possible to use online ID.
Okay. For that, next day I will just do a comparison for that. Okay.
Okay.
And
Sure.
yeah, sure. And I will give a description for that. Hands on. Okay, I'm not. Okay. Okay. So next, move on. Okay, fine.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah. So in this code that we have written like print 42, comma, then once again, this particular, quotation, within the quotation, we have printed this particular text, right? So that means what? This particular text will be printed as an image, okay? And this 42 will be printed as value. Since we are passing to a value, okay? Just we are assigning a value, right? We are passing the value to the print function. So this will noted as only value, not any string or not any image or not anything. Okay, not any variable name like that, right? And here also, if we pass any value, it will be noted as a value and it will just print it. Okay, so now 42 is an integer and the value of the pi is like 3.4. So it's all been printed here, right? Okay, so that is all about the print function. Okay, so here is just a summary. that function calls the function without any argument. Like function 1 to 3 calls function 1 to 3 as argument, like that. What is the argument is? The argument is will replace the return value, like that. Okay. And if we write like some variables equals to a function name, that means what? That particular function will return the result of that particular function, and the result will be saved in the stuff, like any other languages, right? Okay. Here. Okay, so once again, the data types, there's a revision about it. And there was a list like that. Okay. So next move on to the list and tuples. Now, what is list and what is tuple is? Now, this list and tuple is very much important data type in Python, right? Now, what is list? Well, list is an ordered sequence, but it's mutable. Now, what is mutable is it's ordered, mutable, heterogeneous, dynamic. Okay, so the characteristics of list is ordered. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Mutable. Mutable means we can change, like it can be noted. I mean, it can be compared to the array of other languages, right? We can change the particular location or the value of particular location to anything else. Like we can change the value. Here also we can change the particular value of a particular location by some new value, like that. And it's heterogeneous. A list can contain heterogeneous types of values in a, which is differentiation from the array, right? Array is a homogeneous type, but here list is an heterogeneous type, right? And it's dynamic. We can extend the, we can increase the size of it. Okay. And also it allows duplicate element entry, right? So remember the definition of list. It's an ordered, mutable, heterogeneous, dynamic, and also allows duplicate element, right? So the next example, the first example of list is, I think this one is not first. In the first example of the Python programming, we have already said about, or we have already initialized a list here. Now, this is an empty list, right? We have initialized this as list, but we have not passed anything. So that is noted as empty list. So see, empty list, the type, we are printing the type of that my empty list is, the type is list, but the container of the values that it contains is empty. It's nothing, right? Nothing has been passed in the list. We can also assign, right? But it will not contain any kind of any kind of garbage value or like that. It will not contain that, right? It will contain only empty. So next we have assigning an integer type of values to our list. That list of integer, that 1, 2, 6, 7 here. And so the length, okay. Okay, we will print it up. And we have assigned another one list is list of miscellaneous type or heterogeneous type. What we have already said here, this is a heterogeneous type. So this is an example of heterogeneous kind of list. Okay, so here you can see that a float type variable is the first residing in the first location of the list. An integer type variable which has been stored in the second location of the list. And third is the string, 4th string, 5th string, the 6th is also a string, like this. So now, can you say what is the length of the string? The length of the integer type string, obviously it contains 4 value. So, okay, just first execute it. And it's printing as 4 and 6. Just increase the size. See, 6. Okay, we are giving a duplicate value here. And now see the size. The length becomes 5 since we have increased that. So it's dynamic. It's proved, right? It's dynamic. We can change we can increase or decrease the value. Okay. And here also the miscellaneous types of value. Okay. just change one more, like 90. Now see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 numbers of elements are containing in the list of miscellaneous or the list of heterogeneous type of, this particular variable name, list type of variable is assigning to a list which contains these 7 elements. Okay, and if you want to print the len function is there. That means what? The len function will be applied to the list of integer variable. The length is say 5 here. That particular 5 is saved or go back to the print function, is returned to the print function, and it will be printed here by the print function. Okay, so got it? So this particular function and this particular function will return the value, that is the length of this particular, these list, and the returned value, the length of the list will be printed by the print function here. And since we have written the length and the and here in between them, so these two are printed in the print function. Fine. Next is how the indexing of a list is concerned about. Okay. So the first location, like array, the first location is 0th location. The second location is 1, 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. But in Python, the last location can also be accessed by calling -1. Remember, the first location is 0, but the last location can also be called as 5, right? My list of 5 as well as -1. Okay, so both of them are same, pointing to same, which is being differentiation or the advantage of list in Python, right? So according to the backward, the first location is -1, the second location is -2, the third location is -3, -4, -5, and -6. That means what? If you write 0th location and -6 location, both of them will return same value. Got it? So here, just execute it and see. This particular line, my list of 0. So 0th element is Python. So Python is being printed here. Okay. So my list of 3. 3 means 0, 1, 2, 3. So cool is the third, 3th location, right? Not the third value, but 3th location. So cool is being printed here. After that, my list of -1, that means what? The last value, right? The -1 means last value. Okay, so last value is printed. Okay, just change it to -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -6, and execute it once again. See, we have written the -6. That means -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. That means 0. 0th location can also be accessed by backward direction like -6. So the my list of 0th value and my list of -6 value is same here. Got it? So this is the indexing, how a list is being indexed. Okay. So the first location is indexed as 0, and the last location can be in backward location. It can be indexed as -1. So we can move in both direction, like 0th location 0 to 5 or -1 to like -6, like that. Got it? So this is the advantage of list indexing, right? And a list, since a list is an heterogeneous type, right? So a list can also contain a list, that is a nested list can also be happens there. We have declared 2 lists here, that is X and Y. This is a string type list, right? So X contains the first element as apple and the second element as orange, right? And the Y list contains the first element as carrot and the second element as potato, right? And we are creating another list Z, which will contain X and Y. That means the Z list, the first location of Z list will be another list, that is the X list. Just understand this part very carefully, okay? So X is a list which contains 2 elements. Y is a list, another list which contains another 2 elements. And now we are creating another list, the third list, which will contain these previous 2 lists. That means the first location of that new list is an entire list, and the second location of this new list is another entire list. Got it? Okay. So now, concerned about the indexing, we are just printing the Z list. Got it? So if we want just, okay, just execute it. Yes. Okay. So the Z list is being printed as the first location, the second location. Okay. And here also we are just printing the Z. So this is the Z line printing, right? And now we are printing Z of 0th location of Z list. Now what will be the 0th location of Z list? 0th location of Z list contains this entire list. So the 0th location of Z list printing is this line. Output is this. That means the entire X list, which is residing in the first location or 0th location of Z list. Got it? So next we are printing like Z of -1. -1 means what? In the backward direction, we can call it as 1. Here 1 and -1 are same basically, since 2 elements are there. So this is 0, this is the 1 element. And we are moving from backward direction. So this is the -1th element, right? So if we print the Z of -1, so here you can see this is the line which is being printed for that particular statement execution. Okay, just execute it. We have not executed it. Yeah. So this is the line which is being printed as Z of -1. That means this entire list, -1th element, right, of Z list. So it's been printed. And after that, see this line carefully, minutely, like print Z of 0, one more 0. I mean 0th of Z. That means what? The 0th element of 0th location of Z list. That means what? Z list contains the 0th element of Z list is this, whose 0th element is only apple, isn't it? The 0th element is another list. So the 0th element of the list which is residing in the Z list of, 0th element of Z list. Got it? So that means 0 of 0. That means apple should be printed, right? 0th element of Z list is the entire list, whose 0th element is the apple only. So here you can see apple is being printed here. Okay. And now the -1th element of the list that is contained in 0th location of Z list. This line means this. The -1th element of the list which is being contained in the 0th location of the Z list. Right? So what is that? Since this is the ZX list, the 0th element of Z list, and the -1th element will be orange. So the orange is being printed here. Simple, right? Once again, since these orange and these apples, these are the strings. So there are also 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 positions are there. So for that, if you want to fetch a particular letter or particular alphabet or particular character from this particular element, you have to write like this. You need to pass 3 indexing. See, Z of 0 of -1 of 1. That means 1th element First, look at the 0th element of Z list. So the 0th element is this. Okay. Then move on to the -1th element of that particular list. So the -1th element is this. This, right? And now see the 1th element of this part. So the 1th element is, first one is 0, second one is 1. That means R, right? So here R is being printed. Got it?
Yeah, ma'am, one more question from Kalpana ma'am. She is asking, ma'am, it nested list for 0 element. Can we get the location?
Nested is for?
For 0 element, can we get the location?
I didn't get 0th element.
Yes.
I mean, okay, you want to just, shall I just change this position? Is that?
So I think she's asking, in the nested lead for 0th element, can we get the location? To get the location, what you have to do for the in the nested lead, the 0th location?
Yes, I have changed it. It's 0th location.
Okay.
Is that? I think it's clear now.
Yes.
Yeah, I have changed it. Okay, just the value. So
Okay.
the 0th element of the -1th list, the nested list, the -1th element, right, of the nested list. The first look at the 0th element of Z list. So the 0th element of the Z list contains this one. And then we have to move on to the next part. That is the -1th element of this part. So the -1th element, okay.
No, actually, ma'am, she is asking for the memory location.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next part we will continue.
Okay.
It is all about. First, we are going to fetch the values. Okay, by the indexing. We are concerned about the indexing part here, right? We will move on. Okay. 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 Just in this particular code, just move on or understand the indexing or the slicing part, right? We can slice part, or we can slice the particular location, or we can slice from a list like that. Okay, this is to understand this part. We will move on. How can we fetch the index value, or how can we check the index value? For that, we can search that over right there. Where the particular value is to fetch the index value, we will definitely cover that. Okay, so we have just changed it, that 0th element, or yes, so 0th location here, right? So in this line, 3 zeros are there, right? So that means what? The 0th in value of the 0th list of Z list. After that, from that, the 0th of, okay, from that, the 0th element of that nested list, that means this one. And out of that, the 0th element of that particular string, that means A. So A is being printed. So for that, you can access, or you can fetch, or you can slice a specific portion of a list, a specific index value list, you can fetch. Got it?
Ma'am, one more request is that if you could explain once again the negative concept of location.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay. That is an example. Once again, that is an example of our heterogeneous list, right? It contains a heterogeneous types of elements, right? It contains some strings and 2 integer values there. So the indexing is like that. This is the difference between the Python, the array and the Python list is. If you know about the array or like that, so you can see the difference. Like in array, the first location is index as 0. Here is also 0. This is the similarity. But we can access the last element as -1 index. We can call it as 1. Say, for example, the first one is 0. So second one is 1. The third one is 2. Fourth one is 3. Then 4. Then 5. Right? This is the my list of 5 location, right? It contains the value. But if you want to move to the backward location, if you don't know the last element, see, for an array, we need to move on, or for some other data structure, we need to move on to the last location till, I mean, by applying a loop or like that, right? Where the last value contains. But for list, we can directly access the last value by applying, just passing the index value as -1. So the last value will be -1. And in backward direction, you can move on to the first location, I mean, till to the first location, that is the 0th element. So if a particular list here, this list contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements, right? So according to the forward direction, it will have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indexing value, but according to the backward direction, it can have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. No 0 is in backward direction. Remember it. In forward direction, the first location is known as 0, but when we access it in backward direction, the last location is -1. Got it? So if you print the 0th element, it's obviously the Python, right? So it's printed. And if you print the -6th element, -1, -2 says, -6 is again Python, right? So the 0th location and the -6 location is same here. That means both indexing value is same, right? So once again, Python is being printed here. And in the nested list, once again, okay, just give it as -3, 4, not 3, right? So we have just changed this value. Okay, so see, okay, we can do one thing. We can just execute it one more time in single cell so that it will be better understood. Say -1. See, so that means the 0th element of Z list. So the Z list contains these all lists, right? 2 lists, basically 2 lists. So the 0th element of the Z list is the entire list. The 1th element of this particular list is another. So now the 0th element of Z list is this one, right? This particular. From them, choose the -1th element. So from this particular list, what will be the -1th element? The last one, right? The orange, right? So the orange is there. Okay. And after that, once again, we are accessing the -3th element of that particular part. -3th element, once again, E is the -1. The last element, E, is the -1. G is the -2. Right? And N is the -3. So N is being printed here. So got it? So this is the, concept about the indexing and slicing. Okay. So for nested list, this is all. Yes, we will. Okay, I think this part can also be covered today. Okay, fine. The last part is slicing part. Yeah. Okay. So this is the indexing part, right? We have accessed a particular element or particular indexed value. And next example is for slicing, accessing a particular slice of a particular list. So here, just execute it and we will get to know. Once again, we are printing the entire list, the my list. Well, the my list contains this one, these particular values. Okay, so that means here the size of the list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So here, if you want to slice the portion of that list, in our previous example, we have cut a particular location, right? We have accessed a particular indexed value. But now we will cut a slicing. We will do a slicing over it. That means a particular portion, not a particular index. A particular portion will be cut, right? Or it will be printed. So in this example, you can see my list print nothing. Before the colon and then 2. That means print till 2 character, right? 2 characters, number 2 characters will be printed starting from 0. Okay, print 2 characters or 2 elements starting from 0th location. That means 0th and 1th location will be printed. This 2 is not the index value, not the second index value. This is the number of elements. Okay, so if you print this, if you write this code, the printing will be like starting from 0th location, 2 values, 2 index positions will be printed like Python and is. Okay, you can also give like 1, 2. Just execute it. See, it will start from the 1th location and it will move on to the second value, right? Next. The next is starting from the 2. We have given 2 before the colon and nothing after the colon. That means it will start printing from second location. Remember, second location and it will print till the last. Since the last or ending location is not given here. Okay, we want to fetch or we want to slice or we want to print the entire portion starting from the second location. So the result is there. The second location means 0, 1, 2. So the second location contains still. So from starting from the still, the entire part will be printed. Next, nothing is given before or after the colon. That means starting from 0 till the end, it will be printed. And here is that. The entire list, basically the entire list, right? We have not given any number or any index position in that particular function. So the entire list will be printed. Now, see this example, this line, nothing is given before the colon and -1 is given after the colon. That means the stopping condition is -1. That means before the -1 and the starting condition is nothing is given. So that means from 0. So that will print the entire list from starting from 0 to except the last element, right? Since the last element is -1, so except the last element, the entire list will be printed. Here it is. The last element was 5. So just before -1th element, it will stop printing. Got it? So the slicing can be done like this way. Next part, my list of -2, starting location is -2 and ending location is nothing. So what will be the -2th location? -2th location, -1 is 5, -2 is 7. So the -2th location is 7, indexing is 7. So starting from -2, ending is nothing. That means till the end. So 7 and 5 will be printed. Here it is. Okay. After that, here you can see print minus quotation, double quotation, colon. Nothing is before or after the first colon, and then second colon is there. After that, okay, just change it to 1. That will be understandable better. After that, we will change it as 3. Okay. For this line. For the first colon, nothing is inside. So the starting and ending index is from 0 to n. So after that, what value we have given after the second colon is that skip that number of elements. Got it? So if you want to skip particular elements or the particular positioned element from a list, you want to slice that, you can get that, or you can write that 2 colon Okay, and after the second column, write the number. Okay. See, okay, just give here 2. You can see the difference. Okay, yeah, one more thing. You can see that when I have given 1, nothing is changed here. Sorry, this line. Nothing is changed. That means by default, the value of skip is 1. But 1 means no skip. Okay, now change the value to 2. See the difference. This one. Now, skipping 1 value. Remember it, that whenever we want to skip 1 element, we have to give 2. I mean, value as 2, since by default, no skip means 1. Okay, so when we are giving 2, see, 1 element is being skipped. Python, then is the is element is skipped, then still is printed, then cool is skipped, then 7 is printed, then 5 is skipped. Just change it to 3. See the difference again. See, only Python and cool. Python is printed. 3 means 2 letters or 2 index positions will be skipped. That means is and still is skipped. Cool is printed. And then 7 and 5 is skipped. So it's not. So it's all about the Python and cool. Right? So if you want to skip only 1 character or 1 index value, you want to give 2 after the second column.
Ma'am,
Yes.
there is a question. What will be the output for -1 skip, -1?
Yeah, there is. In that example, I will describe that.
Okay.
Okay. There is an example. Okay. So next example is starting location is being given from 2 and the skip value is given like 2. So this is the result here, right? So starting location is still. 2 means 0, 1, 2. So from still, the checking will be started, the slicing will be started, and the skip value is 2. That means skip 1. 2 means only 1 index will be skipped. So cool is been skipped and 7 is printed here, right? And after that, the answer. When you want to give, or if you want to give, or if you have given -1 as the skip value, that will reverse your list. -1 means reverse your list. Got it? And if you give -2 or -3 or -4, whatever the value is, then that will print the list in reverse order, but skipping that particular value or that particular number of index. Okay, so here we have printed like no starting our index, starting and end index, and we have skipped element is like -1. That is, see the result here. That is the reverse of the list. So it's very easy. If you want to just print the reverse of the list, just give -1 as a skip element. Okay, or the third element. Okay, and after that, here we have given -2 as the skip element. Then the list is printed in reverse order, but 1 element, -2 means what? 1 element, right? 1 element will be skipped. 1 element is been skipped. Just change it at 3 and execute it. See, 2 element is been skipped. Since we have given 3, -1 is for reversing. It is by default 1. So that means 3 means only 2 index value will be skipped. So 5, first relocation is 5 is printed, right? And 2 index position means 1, 2. 2 index position is skipped. After that, still is printed here, right? And then is and Python, another 2 location, another 2 index will be skipped and nothing will be printed anymore. So got it? Once again, I'm repeating this part. For slicing a particular element or particular indexing, you can give the starting index and ending index. Ending, not ending index, ending value, right? Ending number of element. Okay. This is, remember, this is not the element, I mean index number. The ending number is not the index number. The first location is the index number. The first value is index number. From which index the value printing will be started. But the next element or the next index value is not the index number. It is the number of element. The first number, the second number, the third number, like that. Okay. So here we have printed like 2 elements, right? Or the till the second element. Okay, just change it like 3. Now see, 3 elements will be printed, right? So Python starting from 0th location, 0, 1, 2, 3th location. Or you can call it as before, you can say that before 3th location it will be printed. You can assume it that like that. Okay. Either you can say that third number of element, or you can say that before that that number, before that number it will be printed. And we can, if we not pass anything after the second colon, then obviously it will be noted as the ending position. If we don't write anything, any number in between or after or before the first colon, it will be noted as starting from ending, starting to ending, till ending. So it will be printed. The entire list will be printed for that particular function or for that particular statement. And after that, if you write like -1, then it will end from you can write here from -1. Oh, yeah, this way, this example. If you write the starting index as minus, or you can give the -1th element, then it will start from that element, but ending, it will not reverse it, right? If you want to reverse it, you need to give -1 after the second colon. Okay. And if you want to write the last portion of the list, you can give that -1 start from -2 or -3 like that until the end. So the last portion from the -2th location will be printed here. This one, this example, this printing, right? And if you want to skip some of the indexing value, then the second colon comes and you can write the number where 1 means 1 does not means the skip 1 element. 1 means by default in forward order. This is the order, right? 1 means the forward order, no skip. 2 means forward order, 1 skip. 3 means forward order, 2 skip. And -1 means reverse order. Got it? So 1 means forward order list and -1 means reverse order. The printing will be done in reverse order. Whatever the index value is passed in between the first colon, that will be printed by reverse order, in reverse order. If we have given that -1 value in the third position, right? And if we have given the -3, -2, -4 like that, then the result, the list will be printed in reverse order, but skipping that particular number of element. That means -3 means 2 skip, -2 means 1 skip, -4 means 3 skip, like this. Got it? Okay.
Yeah. No more. I think one question. I think you already answered this one. She is asking, starting index is -1 and the next is also -1. Then what will happen?
Okay. Let's just do. Starting index is -2 and -1. Okay. I have just okay. Just do another example like code. Let's copy this part. Write it. See, it will start from the -2th location. -2th means -1 and -2. And we have given -1. That means before -1th location, it will be printed. See, whatever I have said that before 3th location. That means before -1th location is 5. So that means before -1th location, it will be printed. That means only 7. Okay, just change it to -4 or 5. -5 and change it to -2. So the minus 5th location is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. So minus 5th location is the value is, and minus 2 is 7, right? So it should print is still cool, this portion. Let's see. Yes. Got it? So that means whatever we are given in the index value, the end value, that means just before that portion, it will be printed. So I think it's clear now. Okay. So I think I should stop today's class till now. I mean till this part, and next one we will move on to some built-in function and some data types, the other data types like that. Okay. So I'm just.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks everyone for that as well. So if you have any questions, you can
yes,
just share in a chat window. We have 2-3 minutes more, and then we can wind up for today's session.
Definitely,
and tomorrow we will the same thing for please do it with -1. I think she is asking to do that with index -1, and next year is also -1.
Yeah.
Kalpana ma'am is asking for that.
I have shown already. I have shown.
Okay. Fine.
I think this one has been cleared here. The -1. Oh, okay. The -1 and -1. Okay, both of them are
correct.
Let's see. Yes. See, empty. Obviously empty. It want to start from -1, and it want to print the. I mean, -1 is before the -1 is valid, right?
Correct.
So it will give an empty list, right? I think now it's clear.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thanks once again, ma'am. Thanks for giving your time, and thanks everyone for joining the session. We will come back on the same time tomorrow. Bye for now. Have a good night, everyone.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.